Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, we focus on practical, evidence-based health information specifically for adults over 60. No gimmicks, no miracle cures, just honest guidance you can use starting today. Now, let's talk about something almost nobody questions: body lotion. We all use it. The skincare industry generates over $15 billion annually in the United States alone, and a massive portion of that comes from adults over 55 who are dealing with dry skin, cracking heels, rough patches on their arms, and that papery thinness that seems to worsen every winter. But here's the uncomfortable truth. Most commercial body lotions, even the ones marketed as gentle or for sensitive skin, contain synthetic fragrances, petroleum derivatives, parabens, and alcohols that provide a temporary feeling of moisture while actually disrupting your skin's natural barrier function. For anyone over 60 whose skin is already thinning and losing collagen at an accelerated rate, this is not a minor issue. This is a compounding problem that affects everything from chronic inflammation to how quickly your joints recover from a long day. So today, we're going to talk about one specific oil, available at nearly any grocery store, that penetrates deeper than lotion ever could, carries natural anti-inflammatory compounds directly into your tissue, and when used consistently for just 7 nights, produces changes you can actually feel. Let's get into it. First, let's understand why your lotion isn't doing what you think it's doing. Your skin at age 30 and your skin at age 65 are fundamentally different organs. Not slightly different, fundamentally. After 60, your epidermis, that's your outermost skin layer, thins by roughly 20%. Your skin produces significantly less sebum, which is the natural oil that keeps everything supple and protected. The lipid barrier, that invisible shield that holds moisture in and keeps irritants out, becomes fragile, almost porous. Now, what does commercial lotion do? Most formulations sit on top of this weakened barrier. They contain water as their primary ingredient, sometimes 70 or 80% water, mixed with emulsifiers and thickeners that give the illusion of richness. That silky feeling you get after applying lotion? Much of that is dimethicone, a silicone-based polymer that coats your skin like plastic wrap. It feels smooth, yes, but it's not feeding your skin. It's suffocating it. Worse still, many lotions contain ingredients like propylene glycol and synthetic fragrances that trigger low-grade inflammatory responses in mature skin. You won't see a rash. You won't feel a burn. But beneath the surface, your immune cells are reacting. Over months and years, this creates what researchers call inflammaging, a state of chronic, low-level inflammation that contributes to joint stiffness, tissue degradation, and accelerated visible aging. Have you ever noticed that your knees or shoulders feel stiffer in the morning despite moisturizing the night before? Many seniors report this. They assume it's just age. But some of that stiffness traces back to what they're putting on their skin, an organ that absorbs up to 60% of what's applied to it directly into the bloodstream. So, what's the alternative? The oil I'm talking about is cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil, not the cheap cooking kind in the large plastic jug. I mean genuine extra virgin olive oil, cold-pressed, unrefined, ideally stored in a dark glass bottle. Now, before you think this sounds too simple, let me share something. In 2005, researchers at the Monochemical Senses Center in Philadelphia discovered a compound in fresh extra virgin olive oil called oleocanthal. When they tested its anti-inflammatory properties, they found something remarkable. Oleocanthal works through the exact same biochemical pathway as ibuprofen, the exact same one. It inhibits COX-1 and COX-2 enzymes, the same enzymes responsible for producing inflammatory prostaglandins in your joints, muscles, and connective tissue. Let that sink in for a moment. A natural compound present in high-quality olive oil mimics the mechanism of one of the most widely used pain relievers on Earth. And unlike ibuprofen, which carries risks of stomach bleeding, kidney damage, and cardiovascular complications, especially in adults over 60, oleocanthal delivered through the skin carries none of those systemic risks. But oleocanthal isn't the only player here. Extra virgin olive oil is dense with polyphenols, powerful antioxidant compounds that neutralize free radicals on contact. It contains squalene, a lipid that your skin produced abundantly when you were younger but now generates in diminishing quantities. It delivers oleic acid, a monounsaturated fatty acid with a molecular structure remarkably similar to the oils your own skin naturally produces, which means it doesn't just sit on top of your skin. It integrates. It sinks into the lipid barrier, reinforces it, and carries those anti-inflammatory compounds deep into the dermal layers where your blood vessels, nerve endings, and connective tissue reside. This is not lotion sitting on the surface. This is nourishment being absorbed into the architecture of your body. So here's exactly how to do this. It's remarkably simple, and I want you to follow this precisely for 7 consecutive nights. Night 1 through night 7. Approximately 30 minutes before bed, pour about 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil into your palm. Warm it between both hands for 10 seconds. This activates the polyphenols and makes the oil absorb more readily into mature skin. Start with your most problematic areas. For many of you, that's the knees. Rub the oil in slow circular motions directly over the kneecap and around both sides of the joint. Don't rush this. Spend a full 60 seconds per knee. The friction generates gentle heat, which opens pores and drives the oil deeper. Next, move to your hands and wrists, especially if you experience morning stiffness or arthritis pain. Work the oil between each finger, across the knuckles, into the webbing between thumb and forefinger where tension accumulates. Then your shoulders, your lower back, the tops of your feet, where thin skin reveals every vein and often cracks painfully in dry weather. If you've never done this before, you'll notice something immediate. The oil absorbs far faster than you expect. Within 5 to 8 minutes, your skin won't feel greasy. It'll feel warm, soft, almost humming. That's because olive oil's molecular weight closely matches your skin's own sebum. Your body recognizes it and pulls it inward. Now here's what to expect over 7 days. Days 1 and 2. Your skin feels noticeably softer upon waking. That tight, papery dryness, especially on shins and forearms, begins to ease. You might sleep slightly better because oleic acid has been shown to support melatonin receptor sensitivity in dermal tissue. Days 3 and 4. Morning stiffness begins to reduce. Not dramatically. Don't expect miracles overnight, but you'll notice that your first few steps out of bed feel slightly less punishing. Your knees bend with a fraction less resistance. This is the oleocanthal accumulating in local tissue and suppressing inflammatory markers. Days 5 through 7. This is where people report the most noticeable difference. Joints that typically ached by mid-afternoon feel more manageable. Skin that looked dull and thin begins to carry a subtle warmth, almost a glow. Fine lines, particularly around the hands and décolletage, appear slightly less pronounced because the skin is genuinely hydrated from within the lipid layer, not merely coated from above. If you're over 60 or caring for an elderly loved one, this information could genuinely change daily comfort levels. Something this simple, this affordable, this available. And most people never think to try it because we've been conditioned to believe that healing must come from a pharmacy shelf or a dermatologist's office. Let me explain the biology of why 7 days matters, because this isn't arbitrary. Your skin cells in the epidermis turn over approximately every 28 to 40 days after age 60, but the lipid barrier, that's the fatty matrix between cells that determines hydration, protection, and absorption capacity, can be meaningfully reinforced within 5 to 7 days of consistent oil application. When you provide your skin with oleic acid and squalene nightly, you're essentially handing your cells the raw materials they've been starving for. Think of it like this. Imagine a brick wall where the mortar between bricks has been slowly crumbling for years. The bricks themselves, your skin cells, might be intact, but without that mortar, everything is drafty, weak, penetrable. Commercial lotion sprays a coat of paint over the wall and calls it repaired. Olive oil actually rebuilds the mortar. On a deeper level, the polyphenols in olive oil, particularly hydroxytyrosol and tyrosol, activate a cellular defense pathway called NRF2. Without getting too technical, NRF2 is essentially your body's internal antioxidant switch. When activated, it triggers the production of your own protective enzymes, glutathione, superoxide dismutase, catalase, that combat oxidative stress at the cellular level. Oxidative stress is the single greatest driver of visible aging and tissue degradation in adults over 60. And here's something fascinating: these polyphenols don't need to reach your stomach to work. When absorbed through the skin, they activate NRF2 locally in dermal fibroblasts, the very cells responsible for producing collagen and elastin. You are literally signaling your skin to rebuild itself from the inside. For those of you dealing with osteoarthritis pain, and I know many of you are, the local anti-inflammatory effect of nightly olive oil application over affected joints has been studied directly. A 2012 clinical trial published in the journal Complementary Therapies in Clinical Practice found that patients who massaged virgin olive oil into arthritic knees for 4 weeks showed statistically significant reductions in pain scores compared to the control group. Not a drug, not a supplement. Topical olive oil applied with consistent, gentle massage. Now, quality matters enormously here, and I want to be direct about this. Not all olive oil is equal. Studies have shown that up to 70% of extra virgin olive oil sold in American supermarkets is either diluted with cheaper oils or oxidized from improper storage. Oxidized oil doesn't just lose its benefits, it can actually introduce free radicals to your skin rather than neutralize them. Here's what to look for. Choose oil stored in dark glass bottles, never clear plastic. Light degrades polyphenols rapidly. Look for a harvest date on the label, not just an expiration date. You want oil pressed within the last 12 months. If possible, choose single origin oil from a specific region, California, Italian, Greek, Spanish, rather than blends from unnamed sources. When you open the bottle, smell it. Fresh, extra virgin olive oil should smell grassy, peppery, slightly bitter. If it smells flat, musty, or like nothing at all, it's likely oxidized and won't deliver the oleocanthal and polyphenol benefits you need. A good bottle might cost between $12 and $20. Consider that a single jar of premium anti-aging lotion often costs $40, $50, $60 and contains mostly water and silicone. The olive oil is not only more effective, but far more economical. A few practical notes to make this work smoothly in your routine. Keep a dedicated bottle in your bedroom rather than using your kitchen oil. This prevents contamination and reminds you to apply nightly. Consistency is everything here. Skipping nights resets the lipid barrier reinforcement process. Wear lightweight cotton pajamas after application to avoid transferring oil to sheets. Old cotton socks work beautifully for feet. Apply the oil, slip on socks, and let your feet soak overnight. By morning, cracked heels that have resisted every commercial cream will feel markedly softer. If you're on blood-thinning medication, olive oil applied topically does not carry the same interaction risks as oral consumption, but mention it to your physician if you have concerns. For those with extremely sensitive or eczema-prone skin, do a small patch test on your inner forearm first. Wait 24 hours. If no redness appears, proceed confidently. One more thing, and this matters for the gentleman watching. This is not just for women. Men over 60 experience the same lipid barrier breakdown, the same thinning, the same inflammatory joint responses. Your skin needs this equally. Don't let outdated ideas about skincare being feminine prevent you from reducing your pain and improving your mobility. This is medicine that happens to come in a bottle from the grocery store. After your initial 7 days, you have a choice. Many people continue nightly because the results compound beautifully over weeks and months. At the 4-week mark, skin elasticity measurably improves. At 8 weeks, the visible reduction in fine lines becomes apparent enough that others notice. For joint pain specifically, the research suggests that consistent application over 6 to 8 weeks produces the most significant pain score reductions. Think of it as building a reservoir of anti-inflammatory protection in your local tissue. Each night adds to the reserve. Some people eventually reduce to 3 or 4 nights per week and maintain their results. Others find that nightly application becomes as natural as brushing their teeth, A 2-minute ritual that replaces everything else they use to pile onto their skin. And here's the quiet reward nobody talks about: the massage itself. Those 2 minutes of slow, intentional touch on your own body, pressing into sore knees, working stiff knuckles, signals your nervous system to downshift from sympathetic activation into parasympathetic rest. Your cortisol drops. Your breathing slows. You sleep better not only because of the oleic acid, but because you gave your body permission to be tended to. So let me leave you with this. You have spent years, perhaps decades, trusting bottles that promised moisture, promised relief, promised younger looking skin. Most of them delivered a temporary sensation and nothing more. Tonight, you have the opportunity to try something older than any pharmaceutical company, something your grandmother's grandmother likely knew instinctively. 1 tablespoon, warm hands, slow circles, 7 nights. Pay attention to what your body tells you on the morning of day 8. I think you'll understand exactly why I made this video. If this information was helpful to you, please subscribe to the channel. We publish new senior health content every week, and I want to make sure you never miss something that could improve your daily comfort. Hit that bell icon so you're notified the moment a new video goes live. Share this with someone you love who's dealing with joint pain or dry, aging skin. Sometimes the simplest solutions are the ones nobody thinks to mention. Be that person who mentions it, and drop a comment below. Tell me, are you going to try this tonight? I read every single comment, and I'd love to hear how your 7 days go. Take good care of yourselves. You deserve to feel comfortable in your own skin. Literally. I'll see you in the next one.